All right, the 40th million time I've had to try to record this. So today I'm going to be showing you guys how to wire up your wipers and your alternator signal wire. If you do buy an 13B harness from me, especially 2023 and moving forward, I will always include wipers, particularly for Series 4's car and Series 5. This video is only applicable if you have a Series 4 car and you buy a harness from me. So let me get this over here. If you buy a harness from me, as you can see, you have your side with all your injectors, all of that stuff, your ignition, coolant temp sensor, stuff like that. And then obviously we have our wipers over here. So as you can see, there's a red, blue, black, white, and green connector. And I'll insert a photo of kind of how this goes and you'll understand. So Mazda and the maker of the connector, this connector is no longer available. The pins are, so you're gonna have to reuse this connector off of your stock engine harness. A lot of people ask me how do you depin it and whatnot, and I'm gonna show you guys how to depin it. And the reason why is anytime I provide a harness, as you can see over here, we have this connector here, which is all squared away, which will be provided, but you have these 6 wires that you got to wire up over here. And obviously there's going to be a blue, green, red, white, black, and there's going to be a really skinny wire. Usually it's going to be gray. If you get a harness from me, it'll usually be gray. This is your alternator signal wire. These thick ones over here are the red, black, blue, green, and white are actually responsible for your wipers. So this is why I always tell people don't throw away your stock harness yet, because it has a grommet, which is like nearly impossible to get. People have tried to get this part, the grommet itself, but most importantly it has a wiper connector, which I think is even more important, especially if you have a street car, even a track car. So as you can see here, there are 2 yellow connectors on here. This one is a 13-way. That's the one I already have provided. But this one right here is, let's see, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15-way connector. So you can tell which connector it is. One side will have blue wires on the other end, and the other side will have green wires on the other end. But essentially, what you're going to have to do is depin it. And this is the only tool you need. This is like a pick I got from Lowe's many years ago or something like that. You can find these metal picks in many places. And it's not that hard to actually depin these connectors. They're super, super easy, and I'll show you guys how to do it. So yeah, let me just reprop my GoPro, or I'm actually probably gonna use my phone and my light and show you guys what you're doing when you're depinning it. All right, so this is the connector we're working with, and I'm gonna insert a photo because it's gonna be really tough to film the inside of that connector, but there's gonna be a metal tab that you're gonna pry up on, and every connector has it. So at the bottom row of it, there's a tab at the top, and at the top row, there's a tab at the bottom for each pin. So I'm gonna show you guys that all it just takes is a little pick and then you're good to go. So let me just do that right now and show you. As you can see, that was incredibly simple. While you are prying down on the pin, or prying down on the little plastic clip that's in there, pull on the wire. So we're going to do it again. So as you saw, I was just kind of pulling on the wire, and that was perfect, as you can see. And again, you just repeat that same process. until the whole connector is just one piece. So I'm gonna insert a photo of what I was prying on exactly, and you'll see like on the red highlighted section in the photo, that's exactly what I was pressing down on. You know, I wasn't pushing it forward, I was pulling it down, or you're pulling it up. So if you're here at the top, from the top pins, you're pulling down on the tab. If you're at the bottom, you're pulling up on the tabs. This is just releases the lock from the metal pin on the connector. So I will depin this whole connector and show you guys how to simply just plug it all back in. So that literally just took me a total of maybe 3 minutes to depin that whole connector. And I'll shine a light. As you can see, it's fully empty, no pins. And it is incredibly simple. So anytime you get a harness from me or message me on Facebook, you will see a photo that looks like this. This photo is pretty much the guide to follow between the wire colors here and then the positions over here. So all we have to simply do is take this connector, and I'm going to go to our trusty 13B harness that we just made. So over here, and you just simply follow the guide. So with that guide, all we're gonna do is, there's always gonna be a red wire. That red wire is switched 12 volts. So I'll show you guys over here. That red wire is switched 12 volts. So the pins just connect and plug in, which is great. So I'll put the red wire in the proper position. It can be a little stubborn. And also they have a particular direction they go in. So as you can see, the red wire's in, and we'll just continue and chugging along. So there's also a green wire. This is one of the speeds for your, so there's 3 speeds, or technically 2 speeds on an RX-7. So as you can see, like if you feel any resistance, back out. Don't force it in, because it's not going to go in. There's only one right direction, and they're pretty much transparent, so you can see the right direction. After you get one in, you'll see which way it should go in, which is just fine. All right, and we have our ground for our connector, which would, well, I'll just put this blue one in. And lastly, we do have our ground, which goes in the center, right by the tab, like so. So as you can see, and then lastly, we got one last wire to wire up. And obviously, these photos are going to be available in the video and the description. And if you've bought a harness from me, you probably already have this information. But anything in video form is much easier to follow. So as you can see, now we have wipers wired up, which is perfect for our application. And pretty much that's it. So if you have any questions, just let me know, and I'll be able to get back to you and help you out. But it's an incredibly simple process, and yeah.